All right. So, um, looking this week at the two different perspectives of exercisers and non-exercisers, how they view the world, what motivates them. Um, this motivation has been a huge driving force to do whatever, exercise or not. Yesterday we looked at enjoyment. So maybe the motivating factor is that you actually kind of like this and enjoy and get pleasure out of this thing. And today we're going to look at a different motivator, which is fear, which tends to be a very great motivator. So how does kind of what the things we are afraid of happening, how does that influence our behavior? So let's take a look at the assignment. Get it nice and big. Okay, pop this back. All right. So um, this number has changed. Yesterday it was 50-50. There has been a trend of people coming to Zoom, not really doing the assignments. So maybe this is all the folks who aren't here today, but almost 60% non-exercisers do not schedule a time in their day to work on body stuff. Okay. So, exerciser, are you afraid that if you don't exercise, you will get fat? About 50%, almost a split, slightly over is yes. Non-exerciser, look at that number jump up. 70%. So does the fear come from not exercising? Like you know you're not exercising and so you just get more and more and more afraid? Like that's where the fear builds up? Right? I'm curious where that 20%, and again, feel free to chime in if you'd like. But non-exercisers are more afraid of getting fat. Interesting finding. And then I asked, well, do you consider yourself fat? And actually, let me put these kind of side by side. Exerciser is on top, right? No, and only in certain spots ties it. Non-exerciser, the folks more afraid of becoming fat, can have a bigger percentage of those folks considering themselves fat. So does it become an idea of being defeated, right? I'm already fat. I'm not sure I can change it, so I might as well learn to deal with it and live with it? Is that where it's at? And again, I'm just guessing here. I know if I go back to my teenage years, coming from an obese family, I saw what they did and their habits and how they ate, and I was like, well, I don't want that. Really, to be fair, the thing I wanted in high school was the one thing I wanted was that nobody could call me fat. That's the only thing I wanted, and so I adjusted things. And you had to learn, right? I didn't have any models. The models that I had were like, this is how you eat a lot, and you work really hard, but you don't necessarily take care of yourself. You just go to work. That's kind of what I found. So I had to learn, like, oh, okay, like what are these dumbbells? I can do something with them. And there wasn't any YouTube and there wasn't any this stuff, but you just know you had to do differently. So you just walk down the path of doing differently. They eat like this, I need to eat differently. I need to eat less at the very least. Right? Almost the same as certain spots. So we know that there's an issue from both sides there. There are certain parts of our body that we probably dislike. And again, how do we treat things we dislike? Do we try to figure them out and understand what's going on, or do we just hate them and get upset with them? So non-exercisers are more afraid of being fat, and they consider themselves fat more. Exerciser, are you afraid that if you don't exercise, your body will become less capable? 87.5% said yes. So exercising allows their body to be able to do cool things and or more than if they just sat around. Here. Non-exerciser, not real, it's less of a factor of capability. They probably feel that their body can do what they ask it to do, perhaps because they don't ask it to do too much. They don't ask it to do things that are demanding, right? Whereas the exerciser, that's the point. Demand more, demand more, demand more, get more, get more, get more. In a way, it's this type of like discipline. And we're talking about doing more. Now, this is really, look at these circles, very similar. Exerciser, do you think you can do more than the non-exerciser? Almost the same, 2/3. Says it depends what it is, right? I didn't say run faster, jump higher, bench press more. I just said do more in the context of living and existing, right? So you're very savvy that way. Like, you're not going to make a blanket general statement. You're going to be like, well, it depends what it is, right? Like if you were to enter a game show that was like American Ninja Warrior, you wouldn't kind of know what it is. But if it was just a game show you didn't know what it was about, well, I don't know. I don't know if I could beat them in Jeopardy, right? Non-exerciser, do you think you can do as much as the exerciser? Right? And again, almost 70% says depends what it is. They're not completely defeated. I don't have a giant slice of red in this pie, right? I've only got 13 1/3. So these folks are still pretty confident, right? So these interesting mentalities that we're dealing with here. All right, I'm gonna have to get to that purple one in a second. Exerciser, does exercising bring you confidence? Yes. And maybe that's what this is all about. The exerciser kind of pushes their body, asks it to do something. It does it. They feel better. They push it a little more. They ask it to do more. It does it. They feel confident. So there's this spiraling up of I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to push it. I'm just seeing how my body responds. It can do it. So there's this that happens with the exerciser, right? And again, it's something that is very controllable. It can become a habit, right? So you kind of have this upward trend. If you don't have that thing, and non-exercisers, I'm not sure if you have that thing or not. From yesterday, it looked like most of the time is spent like escaping into stories and entertainment, right? I remember 40% yesterday of the non-exercisers, that's how you spend your time. So if you're not pushing, learning, doing more that elevates you, like what lifts you up? How do those balloons? Are you just standing still? So then I asked the non-exercisers, what makes you feel more confident? I'm gonna let me change this. This is gonna be a little, let me go to the stream version of this. These are the questions we went through. Okay, this one here. So first two things. I don't know, not sure, not a lot. So that tells me that you don't have anything. You don't have music, you don't have maybe perhaps even a video game. There's zero that's lifting you up. I don't know. Being productive. What does that mean? For your own things or to help your family out? Covering the body, dressing it, dolling it up? Right? Being who I want to be. Like, again, what does that mean? Right? So trying to just like implement these healthy random behaviors. I'll go through two more because I find these actually, I don't know. Right? This person running around their kitchen, eating a celery stalk made them feel confident. It's like, look at me making good choices for myself. Being good at things like my hobbies. Did they have a hobby? Personality. How does your personality come out? What is it dependent on? other people to share it to, share it with, show it to. Right? Scroll back to the top. Very interesting. I don't know if you guys are into psychology, but I find this stuff very interesting. Okay. So then I talk about like value. Exerciser. Are you afraid that if you don't exercise, you won't be as good, worthwhile, valuable as a person? 2/3 say no. So only a third equate capable, attractive body with being worthwhile. Look at the non-exerciser. Does it make you feel less good, worthwhile? We're at 44%. Because I'm don't work my body, which may translate because I am lazy, which may translate to because I choose to be lazy, I'm less good, not confident, unconfident. So that parallel, right? This is kind of a similar thing. If we were in PE class and we're picking teams, the exercisers and or the kids who are confident in playing that certain game are cool with being captain. They actually want, they can see who's good, they know. Whereas the other ones kind of like don't want to get picked and or don't want to get picked last, right? Behavior confidence matters. Rounded down here. For the exerciser, is your body appearance performance something you feel you can control? 78% said yes. I can control it and I will control it. I choose to do this thing every day. I choose to work on this aspect. Now, interesting, non-exerciser, is it something you want to control? 85% of folks who don't exercise say, I want to control the thing that exercise controls. There's a big gap there. I want to, but I'm not. Is it because you're afraid of trying and failing? That you don't know how? Right? If I were to throw up a list of things to do in class, is that what you need? Or would you look at it and like fake it or pretend? So what's the gap there? Okay. Exerciser. What are you most afraid of happening? Again, in general is what I meant. We'll take through this. Not losing weight. I'm putting the work in. I better see the results. Afraid of doing something destructive to my body. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Anybody on phones? Destructive. Not exercising enough. Exercising too much. They notice both. Taking care of myself the wrong way. Right? Again, how do I push it just enough? Gaining weight. They say that they are not the weight they want, so they're going to diet soon. Losing control over myself and being criticized for exercising on a daily basis and still being fat. Right? Non-exercisers, that mentality is still there with the exercisers. But for whatever reason, they have this hope and this optimism that this act of exercising consistently is going to make a change. Maybe they just need to wait a little bit longer. So for whatever reason, they've got this hope that it's going to work. They're willing to try. I'm afraid I'll get weak or slow and then be embarrassed. That's the confidence thing. I got to stay on top of my game. I got to be strong. I got to be fast so I can dominate, so I won't be embarrassed. I won't get made fun of. If I perform a workout wrong, it might go to the hospital. My body being something I don't like. I'm gonna let that sit there. I work out because I'm afraid of my body being something I don't like. Non-exerciser. What are you most afraid of happening? A lot of I knows and a lot of not scareds. I'm fine. Becoming something I don't want to be. For a long time, I struggled to gain weight. And now that I gain weight, I feel like I need to lose some, right? I was here, I didn't want to be here. And now I'm over here. And actually, I thought I'd be happy here, but it's too far. I also don't like this. I don't like. That I'll become obese. And if I move around just a little bit, I'll be out of breath. I won't be able to do anything. That I'll never get over my body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia, if you are not sure, is you see yourself not as you actually are, but a much worse version. The world can see you as perfectly fine and normal, potentially even good, but you're stuck in, I'm bad. I could be better. Stop in this last one here. I'm afraid of not being enough, not being pretty enough, getting overweight, being healthy. Not being healthy. That's a lot. That's a lot of fears. And fears can paralyze us. It could just freeze us right where we are. Last question. How does your biggest fear influence the way you feel or use your body? And always, few I don't knows, always feeling like you're not enough. You get told too fat or too skinny and you feel at your right place, but these negative thoughts are in your brain. That is the biggest peril of living externally. What I mean by that is everything outside of you, trusting that more than what is inside of you. Can't control what people say, and people can be jerks. Make me feel guilty all the time for not exercising or eating something bad. And if I do those things, I feel like I'm not beautiful. This is my first time reading them. Just motivate myself to keep going. My fear of like not being, again, this is the same thing, not being enough, pretty enough, attractive enough, good enough, working hard enough. Also, I have a food disorder, but I'm trying to control it. Biggest influence makes me exercise for 100 or more minutes daily. It's over an hour and a half to get the dream body I want, as well as not make me happy with what I am doing. Maybe that's the chord right there. We got just a big group of kids who are struggling being happy with themselves, liking themselves. And one's trying to exercise to change, and one's trying to just not get worse. Stop, share, stop, record.